You know, among the things that I do in my teachings, as I approach these things and I live it, you know, what do we do? What do we really do in our lives now to say, you know, am I doing any part of something? We can all say, oh yeah, well, I'm doing the good stuff, I'm doing this, you know. And it's, you know, and I see it all around me. I know people that I encounter are kinder. I find that some people believe that the Messiah is about to return, that Christ is going to return.
But don't you think that the Christ has already returned within the hearts and the minds of people?
Well, I hope that's what they're talking about, because in the state of things today, if it was to be one person returning, I think they would need really, truly a fine PR man, or they would never get any recognition. Because I have known people, and I speak particularly from my own world of Native American, I know Native American people that carry a power that if their word was made known to the world, and really truly made known, that it would have a serious positive effect on the planet. They can't get a microphone, you know? They don't talk good English.
I understand.
This sort of thing. So how do you get the word out today? Unless you've got a network of your own, you're not going to make it. And if Jesus comes along and owns a television network, I doubt if anyone's going to buy it right away. They're going to say, no, that can't be. It wouldn't work that way. You know. So I don't know about the returns of anybody, but I do say this, and I think this is true. I think we can see this in our own lives. Is that watch the world for kindness and join it. And if you don't find any, create it.
From within inside yourself.
Absolutely.
Because that's where it
Absolutely.
begins.
Surely.
Love
Surely.
begins with inside of each person. So does charity.
Yes.
It starts at home, inside
Yes.
of the heart.
You bet you. You bet you it does.
All right. But the one thing I'm going to leave with probably a question here. You know, if there is a Christ energy, many individuals either bounce back and forth from the Christ energy to the Antichrist consciousness.
Yes.
We're all equally responsible for that. So either we're thinking in a love consciousness or we're thinking in an unloved consciousness. So many individuals talk about the Antichrist coming back, or the Antichrist is here. I feel that that's true. But as to being one person, if you've talked about the hells, the 9 hells,
Yes.
I believe that mankind needs to have that spiritual discernment, because that, to me, will happen if individuals are not aware to use their own consciousnesses now for their spiritual discernment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Would you like to elaborate just a little bit on that?
Right. Let me, looking at it, and I look at myself, Yvonne, I say, I'll be 60 years old at the end of October, and for me, it's easy to see that it's closer to the end than it is to the beginning, most certainly.
Yeah.
But what I keep finding a conflict in myself about is that it seems to me that so many of us today believe that this is a physical, material experience.
No, it's a spirit. We live in a spiritual world governed by spiritual laws.
Absolutely, and when we neglect those laws, we get in trouble.
Yes.
We really, truly get in trouble. And we've, as a people, we've done a lot of this. A man who, just an example, a person who would give the most luxurious gifts to his children and his wife in a fine home and everything, and yet not really practice love, just material gifts, and to the point of, and we know this, we can see it,
yes.
Many people do not know how. They have forgotten or they've lost the trust of how to love.
That's the key, trust.
Yes.
Because you have to have the vulnerability, do you not?
Absolutely.
When
absolutely.
love is there.
Absolutely.
So to be in that energy pattern, you have to have the vulnerability and the honorability.
Yes.
To follow that through.
Yes, absolutely.
And so you see, being a spiritual person living in a spiritual world governed by spiritual laws, when we can come into that realization that that's where it's at, that's what it is.
Yes, yes. You know, Yvonne, you said something a moment ago about your own experience that when you were in Florida,
yes,
and you came here and here at this Mother Cabrini shrine, that you had an experience with the sacred woman. The mountain that I speak of, that I went to fast, is the twin spring of the spring at Mother Cabrini Shrine. Yes, it's just right over the hill. It's Bald Mountain,
wow.
and it's a spring related very much to the same place, and very truly, it's very much to the same thing. All of us who know both springs can vouch for that. But do you know that in my travels around the world, I have found people who had this sort of experience at that time. I met Mother Teresa in Calcutta. I played my flute for her. She had had such an experience in her life. I told her the reason I wanted to see her was because I was afraid to tell anyone inside of me that if I had seen the sacred woman, physically seen her, touched her, talked to her, and that I believed she had been real there,
Yes.
and I couldn't prove it.
You can't prove it.
You know,
It's just an experience.
she knew what I was saying.
Yes.
She understood what I was saying. I have talked to many priests and shaman, people who are close to a spiritual life and who really live it.
Yes.
They understand. But I have been really concealing this fact of my own life from my children, from everyone. What I just told you is the first time I have ever said that to anyone.
I thank you for sharing that because it enabled me to share that too.
Thank you, really, thank you. It's been a real honor being here with you this evening. I thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Tony. It's been so beautiful. And I want to remind the listeners also, if you would like